everyone, I am Anshita Kakuste from Computer Department and we are here to have conversations about careers and opportunities with Mr. Aditya Bhatter. Aditya is currently working as a software development engineer at Amazon Alexa and is currently based out of Boston, USA. He has over 5.5 years of software development experience and started his career at the MathWorks immediately after completing his master's. He holds a master's degree in electrical engineering from the University of Southern California and a bachelor's in electrical engineering from Father Agnel Swashi. Outside of work, he enjoys cooking, playing on his Xbox, and loves to follow and to play a variety of sports. How did an electrical engineering background student go towards coding and is now working in Amazon?
It is primarily to do with, I think, interests that I had developed during my undergrad and grad. So I was always interested in coding. During undergrad, I had taken up courses. We had courses such as microprocessor and microcontrollers, ADIC, where we had some level of C and C++ programming, and then a lot of MATLAB programming in power electronics and I think it was electrical networks back then. That those courses kind of drew me towards the programming world. And then during my master's, when I picked up control systems, I think the whole intention was to work in the field on control systems, but not like on the field, but really on developing systems on software. And that's where I learned a lot of MATLAB and C++ programming as well to kind of build up my portfolio in that sense. But during my master's, I realized that just doing control systems might not be feasible for me itself. So I had to kind of find a real world application where I could use all of that control systems knowledge. And I got drawn to this whole world of robotics and computer vision, and that's where I had also picked up a couple of courses during my master's to really test out the application side of control systems. Having said that, I then graduated from my master's, joined MathWorks, where I also was a C++ software engineer for around 4.5 years, and after that, it just so happened, and just continuing to learn different technologies in computer science, that has just drawn me to Amazon, which is a pretty well established software industry.
Yes, that is true. Also, is it hard for a person from electrical engineering to go towards coding, or does it work out in the end?
So in terms of working out in the end, I think it's primarily what your goals and what you think your interests are. I had a very keen interest in learning programming. I think that is what the future is for us, and I definitely wanted to contribute to it in any way possible. And that's really what drew me to programming in general. I think it goes back to my high school days when I had C++ in 11th and 12th. So that was where I did have a lot of interest, but then picking up electrical engineering as such was just because I wanted to get the core experience of taking up a core engineering field and then trying out to build out of that. Yeah, so in my graduation, I think after my second semester is when I had picked up courses such as robotics and computer vision. I was also working at a robotics lab on campus, where I really got to work with robots, and USC has a very good robotics lab on campus, and there was a PhD student back then who was looking for graduate student researchers to work under him, and that's really what kind of exposed me the most to programming and kind of getting my code reviews and other things kind of done by a computer science major in general. And then definitely, I think picking up training, that's something that you can never leave. I think given today's world, you have Coursera, Udemy, all these platforms which are offered.
Yes.
So I joined Amazon over a year back. I work in the Alexa Knowledge org, that is primarily to do with question answering with Alexa.
Mm-hmm.
So Alexa, there are like two different kinds of things with Alexa. You can have skills, or there are like core capabilities which Alexa has. Say you ask it a question, it would give you an answer either from the web or from Wikipedia, and browsing the different available sources on the web, and then present it to you on the screen or through voice. And there is this whole skill world, which is basically built by third-party tools or third-party developers who would want to, expose their skill as a product to customers. So I'm working on the core Alexa side. So it's primarily we have large knowledge graphs or kind of information available which is scraped from the net, which we want to present to customers when they ask us a question. So say you ask a question like, what is the capital of France, for example, and it would say Paris. So you would definitely hit a service which my team owns at that point. And it's not just, the voice augmentation that we try to do. So we also have like visual aid that we provide. So now Alexa is in a lot of the devices out there. So it's on your phone, it's on your, screen device, which Amazon ships. It's on your TV, for example, or any of your on your automobile as well. There are cars coming out with Alexa, so we really want to cater to all of those different areas and provide the best experience to the customer. And in terms of work culture, so Amazon is a very customer-centric company, and that's one of their core values and core principles that they really portray, and all of us at Amazon also are kind of abiding by it. And we just find ways to delight customers in all that we do on a day-to-day basis as to how would the customer perceive a new thing that we added, or how would a visual look to a customer, and so on. And that's pretty cool, because you yourself are a customer of Amazon, so you kind of think about, okay, what will look better and how can I make the product better, and that leads to innovation, and then that leads to more and more like development in general.
Exactly.
All right, so certain decisions in a different perspective. I think, so for me, I always had this, thought in my head during undergrad that I always wanted to do my post-graduation, be it MS, MBA. At that time, I was not really sure, but early on, I was like, I want to do it together so that, I don't have to go to work first, get a job, and then go back to studying, because I was always like, it might be too difficult for me to get back to studying and get back to the books once I've gotten the taste of the industry in general. And that's something that kind of drove me to doing my post-graduation right after undergrad. So it's just like right after finishing up my bachelor's, I had already gotten an accept at a university, and I was all set to go. I think if I would have probably, now if I look back, I think if I had taken up a job and, after undergrad to get some industry experience, I think that would have changed how I would have either taken my specialization, or either I would have not pursued an MS, I would have probably taken up an MBA. I'm not sure at that time. But of course, it could have been very different, given I would have had this different perspective, which an undergrad student at times might not have. And I think, but at that time, I think it was more of and it was not just my decision. I definitely, spoke to a lot of my professors, spoke to a lot of my peers, spoke to people that, whom I look up to in general, to kind of get a sense of whether it makes sense to kind of go right from undergrad to masters, because that is generally the flow that people take up. But it's something that, it differs case by case as to what your skills are and what stage you are at. So that would have probably been something that would be different. I think I just always have this, belief that whatever will happen for the good, is what I strongly believe in. Even during tough times, and I've had these tough times even during my masters, where I was not getting an internship after my first year of grad school, and I was like, well, I definitely need to get an internship, otherwise getting a job might just become even more difficult. So I just took it with the flow, and started applying for like on-campus opportunities. I was already working at a lab, so I thought I might just continue working there, continue to build my skills as much as possible. And if it works out for the best, then it's a win. But if it does not, at least take the learnings from there and then keep applying it to other such challenges that life might throw at me. And I'm still young, so it's not that everything is just set up properly for me. So it's still a long way to go, and just want to continue that momentum as much as possible.
Absolutely.
definitely. There are two pieces of advice that I would want to give. One is around, career academics related. That is mostly around, making informed decisions. I think that is something that is very important for students to understand. Talking to your peers, and not just peers. I think talking to professors in college. They have a lot of experience. Father Agnew, which has grown. The professor's experience has grown over the years, and they have seen and coached a lot of people who have graduated from the college, who are at different stages in their career. And I think it's just something that you can always reach out to your professors and decide your career path, brainstorm with them, and try not to go with the flow. Try to do something different that you would find interesting, and challenge yourself as much as possible. I think that is something that you should do at when you're an undergrad, because at that time you're still very young and you have that energy with you. You can afford to take risks at that time, and definitely that is something that I would encourage students to do. And then also, I think in terms of picking up projects, I think that is also very important. Don't just pick up projects because it'll fetch you more marks, or it'll give you something additional, but look at it from a perspective of what will you learn at the end of the project. That is what my master's has taught me, that learning never stops. You will have to continue learning throughout your career, no matter what, because things change. You might be put into a project where you have no idea about, and you'd have to learn either the language or whatever tool you're using, and you'll have to adapt as much as possible. So that is something that you would have to take with you. And if you start early, you would definitely become the habit. And then on a non-career note, I think enjoy life as much as possible. College life never comes back, no matter how much you pray for it and how much you wish that it comes back, it won't. Make memories with your friends that you will cherish, and hopefully reminisce one day in the future. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much for coming here today and guiding us.
I think thank you so much for reaching out and organizing this whole thing. I've been looking forward to this interaction for the whole week, so it's pretty good that you're now done with it.